Hi there, it's Ian here, and you're watching Grumpy Opinions, the show where I'm going to tell you all about what I think of films, TV shows, games, and life in general. Let's get on with the show.
The Mandalorian is a Star Wars TV show all about the Mandalorian, or Mandy as I like to call him, the giant tin can man, and there's also his wee pal Baby Yoda, or Bubba Yodz as I like to call him, because I like to call things silly things, and this is my channel, okay? In Chapter 10, The Passenger, things kick off with Mandy and Yodz getting their bike broke by some bandits, and although Mandy kicks their butts, one of them manages to get to Bubba Yodz, so he offers him the jetpack in exchange, and when the guy takes it, he blasts him off into the sky and then drops him. Bad luck, mate. And after that, he has to walk home, but he decides to take on a passenger in exchange for some info about a Mandalorian. So, it turns out to be this lizard frog alien who wants to transport her eggs home for mating season. Trouble is, they can't go into hyperspace because if they do, the eggs will all die, so they've got to fly there at normal speed, which is going to take them ages and mean that they're in a lot more trouble of getting caught. But he takes the job and they fly off, and things seem okay, apart from Bubba Yodz constantly trying to eat the eggs. But then, some X-Wing dudes fly by, and Mandy can't quite manage to convince them that he's a good guy and on the level, and then Bubba Yodz eats an egg. So things get a wee bit choppy, and they end up having a bit of an air fight. And he ends up crash landing into an ice cave on a planet, and then the floor falls out, and then Bubba Yodz eats an egg. And Mandy ends up trying to make some repairs from the bottom of this cave, but the lizard lady wanders off because she's managed to find a hot springs bath, and then Bubba Yodz eats a baby spider. And it turns out that this is the planet of giant spiders, of course it is, and they start to get chased and things look really bad and they end up hiding in the cockpit of the ship because it's the only place they can shut the door. But luckily, after that, the X-Wing guys come back and shoot a load of the bad guys, and they know that Mandy tried to stop the other bad guys from killing the guard back in Chapter 5. Remember that? The jailbreak episode? Yeah, anyway, favour repaid. So Mandy and the lizard lady make what repairs they can and then chug the broken ship further through the galaxy. And then Bubba Yodz eats an egg. So what did I think? Well, I mean, this was kind of a fun wee filler episode, and it was kind of interesting because, and this is exactly what Season 1 did. I mean, remember Episode 2 of Season 1, when the Jawas basically dismantled Mandy's ship and he had to spend a whole episode chasing them and then fighting a big monster? Well, this felt an awful lot like that, because basically nothing really happened in this from a plot point that anyone learned anything, or, you know, any of that kind of narrative, any character growth stuff, that sort of thing. It was just good old-fashioned comedy and action. And as always, CGI was great. I mean, the creature effects on the spiders were great. You know, the practical effects on the lizard lady were great fun. And, you know, everything was just genuinely as nice as it normally is. And the action was fun, like the flying around, the getting chased by the beasties. It's everything you could expect and everything you could have wanted from Star Wars. So despite that, why did I feel so meh about all this? I mean, like I said, this is kind of filler. It's classic filler. And it does it in a very silly way, but I think the problem is I'd quite like the show to figure out if it actually has a plot. You see, thus far, it still doesn't. This is episode 10 so far, and we've maybe had 3 episodes that actually directly tied into any kind of plot. Now, instead of Mando wandering aimlessly around in Season 1, he's now wandering aimlessly around looking for people that don't exist. Now, sure, he's getting chased by people, and yeah, it's just a little bit too, you know, the Incredible Hulk, and that kind of bores me a wee bit. And besides that, the Mandalorian's kind of a bad guy.
I'm the bad guy.
No, Billie Eilish, go away. What I mean is, you know, again, like last week, he's just killing people after agreeing to let them go. I mean, specifically the guy at the start. Now, yeah, totally, I don't know. He doesn't want to let the guy take the jetpack, but the show is showing us that Mando can't be trusted. That basically, when it comes down to Mandalorian armor, at least, he basically will screw you over. And it's kind of a terrible example to set in front of his kid. And yeah, I know it's a space western, it's a samurai show, it's all these things, but it still rubs me up the wrong way a wee bit. And also, that bandit scene really bugged me for another reason, because you see, right, there's 3 bandits in the middle of the desert waiting to, like, capture him and just throw a rope up and, you know, stop somebody. But they're in the middle of the desert. How did they get there? Where are their speeders or horses or even their bicycles? I mean, in a western, if a cowboy was getting ambushed by some bandits, they would have horses hidden behind a tree or something, I mean, or a big rock. That's how that works. But here, no. And I presume that's just because they like the idea of the shot of him walking along with carrying everything with a stick over his shoulder. But you're not honestly telling me that these guys actually hiked like 5 miles into the desert out of Tatooine just to set up a rope trap between 2 rocks, just in case somebody happened to drive between them. I mean, no. I just don't buy it. Yeah, like I said, they clearly just wanted this shot. And also, the whole egg eating joke. I mean, I actually thought that was quite nasty, because I mean, it didn't really work for me, because they literally said in dialogue that this is this lady's, like, the last of her line. These are the eggs. If they don't get fertilized, her entire bloodline's going to die off. And Baby Yoda's just eating them. He's just munching them away. And it looks like there was maybe only about 20 to 30 of them to begin with. And we see him eat like somewhere between 5 and 10 that we know about. Also, not that it actually bothered me, but spiders. Spiders. Spiders! So I guess if you don't like spiders, then, you know, this episode probably isn't for you. But then you wouldn't have watched it, and I doubt you'd been watching my recap either. But yeah, so there was quite a few grumps on this episode as opposed to the last one, but it's certainly not the end of the world, and it's still an okay show. So till next time, I've been Ian, and these have been my grumpy opinions. And a special thanks to everybody listening, and especially my patrons, and most especially to Michelle Forbes and Judith Coloma, my top tier patrons. Thank you, everybody. Everybody stay safe. Cheerio.